Hello, IK here. Welcome to composition, data flow, and rendering flow. Here is a first loading application tank, React and Redux. Redux is global state manager. It means that CRUD, create, read, update, delete, all that features data flow is to global. All that features is about post state and go to global, to Redux. Our action, after our action, we have data flow to Redux, better say action flow, our action flow to Redux and change state in Redux, concretely reducer. And post list component is subscribe to Redux. It means that data in post list would be changed as changes Redux global state. Global state in this situation is object posts. There is three properties: props, post, status, and error. Same name is global, is for object, and same name is for object and for properties, posts. Post plural. Post is array of post. And what is interesting that it is a state. It is object state with three properties. But action is only about post. About posts. Status and error is not include in action. It means reducer, there is input state and input action and output state. State, output is object. State input is copy of that object, for example. But action is only about properties post. It means action is object with the two properties, action type and payload, action payload. Action payload is always what coming from mock server. Pardon, not. Is always, it is not always, it is what coming from our action of users. For example, when we click add new post, we type title in form and type content and push button save post. It goes to mock server and response from a mock server. It is the same action. It is the same title and content with ID because mock server give ID. And we have ID, title, content in response data, and it goes to reducer, to Redux. And that action changes copy of actual state. And it is new state. Original actual state was not touched, but removed, and instead of it, we have a result of a copy of state and action. Action in this situation, title, content, and ID. When we read, feature read is first starting application must from mock server must come to post list complete array of post. How it is? It is that initial rendering of post list finished with initial state, but that moment event component was mount call use effect, and use effect is a name. Effect means dispatch tank function, and the tank function it is fetch post tank function, and that get request in that tank function, get request means fetch post from a mock server, and in response data we have, if all is okay, we have complete post with all post inside of array. And where it go? It go to Redux, to reducer. Input side, it is action, input, and action, there is a type, and there is a payload. Payload is a complete array from a mock server, complete array with all post. And post list subscribed to Redux by a use selector hook would be immediately see that changes, and post status and error would be same as it is in Redux reducer. It means full list of array, list of post, and would be visible on the screen. It is add. When we have update, it is also update title and content of concretely ID. Update on the mock server, but same ID, title and content go in response from mock server and go as action. As action, that title change, that title ID and content to Redux, to reducer, and that action changes concretely post changes by immutable way. Always in reducer, which actual state would be changed by immutable way. It means action and post in state interaction would give new state, and that new state was a new actual state. Original actual state don't touch, because in input of reducer we have a copy of state and action. Copy of state and action. It is called, update. Delete, it would be deleted. Delete ID, title and content. We push button delete, and concretely ID go to mock server software delete it on the server, and response same data. ID, title, content must be deleted in our actual post. Where in Redux? It is like action. That ID coming as action, and means that ID must be deleted, and would be deleted in copy of post. And after that we have a new actual state without deleted one. Again, we have 4 features: add post, read post, update, and delete. All 4 features, CRUD, acronym CRUD, all 4 features, our action go to Redux, and post list see that changes by use selector. And the post status and error is immediately equal actual state. And actual state always is totally a new state. Don't touch previous actual state, because action and copy of actual state go in interaction, and result of that is new actual state. When we have this picture here, we can see initial rendering and initial composition. It means, again, refresh, you see loading, again, refresh, you see form, but loading, we waiting. It means that add post form rendered, because app component, there is a 2 child, add post form, post list. At first, when app component would be called, at first see add post form, and child add post form is rendered. Here it is. After that, the post list rendered. But post list start rendering initial rendering. It is here visible. Initial rendering use a selector in that component will see initial state, existing initial state in Redux on reducer, and it is existing actual state is post empty. Here it is, post empty, idle, status idle, error null. And after that initial rendering, there is an event component was mounted, call use effect. Use effect start dispatch tank function, fetch post, and the tank function, fetch post, dispatch action pending type. It is waiting type. It is when we see loading on the screen. And here it is second reason. It is a reason because the status from idle go to loading, we have a re-rendered post list. Pending type, post is empty again. There is nothing here. But status is loading. Error is null as before. That changes from idle to loading is the reason that post list re-rendered. After that, if all is okay, coming action fulfilled, type fulfilled. And now it means that post is fulfilled. We have 2 posts from a mock, succeeded, status changes to succeeded, and error is null as before. Here there is 2 reasons for changes, succeeded and this array fulfilled. And rendering that third rendering of post list and finished, we see all on the screen. But I must say here, we have a logic if, only if succeeded, status equals succeeded, we have a rendered child post excerpt. And the post excerpt component, it is child of post list, will be rendered only when list is fulfilled, when action is fulfilled type. Because post excerpt input variable is post. And in initial rendering, there is no post in post list. Array is empty. In second rendering, pending type empty, post is empty. And in third, fulfilled exists post, and the post by post go to entering post list, entering post excerpt, and post excerpt rendered 2 times. How many posts? So many rendered child post excerpt. Conclusion. In this video, I spoke about reading from acronym CRUD. At first, we must read data from remote server. Here we read posts, array post from a mock server. How? By help of thank function and asynchron request, get request. And that request, result of get request is response data. In response data was complete array post. And that array post as action would be dispatched in fulfilled type. Action would be dispatched to a Redux reducer. And with the existing state, copy of existing state, it is empty post, is empty array. Together, action fulfill list and empty array, in interaction, we have a new state, because input was copy of state, and second input is action fulfilled list, and the copy of state, in that copy of state we have a post, array post, empty, and fulfilled and empty, we have a full list. New actual state would be full list of post, and immediately use selector like listener, transmit that news and new data, new post, changes in post list, and rendering that post by post excerpt, finished rendering of post list, and we see on the screen all posts. In this situation, 2 posts. Again, we have always asynchron request and response data. In response data, this time it would be fulfill type would be complete array post with all posts in this concrete situation. Mock server changes post with the own software, and it is not interested for us. But for us is interested that we have in response data in our request, get request, that we have response data that post array coming to our application. And our React application, here it is by Redux global state, we must include that changes our existing data in our React application. How? By action. Tank function, dispatch action pending type, action fulfilled, and action fulfilled means that it is all okay, and we have post full array. We have as action in a reducer in input, and interaction with a copy of state in a reducer, and it is properties post, empty array, fulfilled array. We have result full array of post, and use selector that immediately transmit that value, transmit to post state post on the post list. When a post exists, array and members post exist, post by post go in post excerpt, child of post list, and post excerpt, it is reason that post excerpt changes rendering. And all that is composition. Composition and rendering is, of course, it is two terms and two meaning. Composition is how developer how developer decided to decided to create architecture of component. But with that action, with that architecture, developer is defined rendering also. Developer know that component where he want put every component, who would be parents, who would be child, and composition in dynamic is rendering. Rendering is dynamic composition. A composition in bit, fundament of composition is static, but fundament of rendering is dynamic, and rendering is a dynamic composition. It is rendering, dynamic of composition, rendering of every component in some composition, and the developer must know that process of rendering because he created it. He wants that a React application function like it. He wants rendering like it. And he create composition like it. This part is top knowledge of or fundamental knowledge, but I said top knowledge because you learn about rendering step by step, learning React, React Redux state, component state, data flow, and after practice, it is practice experience, and practice give developer knowledge of that final final goals, how how we want that our application flow rendering, flow data, and for all of that is all that depend about how we locate our components and how many components we created and where located them, intermediate one to other, interaction one to other, who would be child, who would be parents. Okay, I will continue spoke about this in next video. Thank you for watching this video.